Welcome to the unboxing review of the Acepen AP-2150 Graphics pen display tablet. Now, worth a really quick mention straight off the bat that gearbest.com do have a flash sale on for the next few days on this tablet if you do end up interested, links in the description below, but I'd say have a good watch of this review. So those lovely people over at gearbest.com said to me, Mikey, if we send you the Acepen 2150 Graphics display tablet, would you like to do another unboxing review for us? And I said,
send forth your tablet screens and I shall review them.
Now, as you can see, they haven't gone crazy for any shelf-ready box art, but the focus is on the tablet itself. If we open this up, you're greeted firstly by the pen display instructions, never gonna read, the installation CD, and rather unusually a welcome envelope that comes with a feather biro pen. I've never seen one of these come out of a box before, so nice touch. More usefully in the envelope also comes a smudge guard glove. This is actually a very useful bit of kit, and although very cheap to buy, it's rarely included along with a tablet, so another nice point there too. Now, in terms of the box within a box, it contains an entire world of cables. You've got yourself a USB to USB connection to link the tablet to your computer when used in pen mode, the pen itself plus a pouch case for it as well, the power leads and adapter, a pen holder pot with some spare nibs, which is standard fare for tablets I noticed, but always welcome, some HDMI leads and some DVI leads if you prefer to connect to your computer differently. The foam packaging is nice and thick, and within is the tablet screen itself. Now, this one comes with the stand already attached, so there's less work to do out of a box, and the plastic screen protection layer you can peel right off. But warning, there are 2 layers of screen protection here, but we'll get back to that as well. So these are all the bits that you can expect out of the box with the Acepen AP-2150 Graphics display tablet. And with the addition of a couple small things like the smudge guard and the pouch for the pen, you do end up with ever so slightly more out of a box than other tablets. The pen itself is a standard plastic 2-button affair, which is quite common with a lot of models of this range. And if you flip the tablet over when setting it up, there is enough recessed space for all of the connecting leads so that they don't catch or bend whilst in the sockets when you're plugged in and moving it around on your desk. So just get it all connected up to your power and computer, whack in the driver CD and install the software to use it. Like all digital tablets really, especially the mid-range lot, you will need to completely remove any other tablet driver software that you might have on your computer first. And so this is how the tablet looks when used in my small workspace, and in order to have the screen fairly near to the wall, I do have to fold the stand right up and lean it back, but the rubber grips along the bottom keep it nice and firmly from slipping. You've got your standard power and screen calibration buttons on the tablet itself, and right out of the box I noticed that the colours looked pretty good, but everything seemed to have an ever so slightly fuzzy look to it. I wasn't getting a perfectly crisp, clear image. Now, this isn't actually a problem with the screen at all, it's because there's a second and more permanently intended for use screen cover that's also on here with a textured surface. Now, the tablet has a fairly nice thin screen profile, and the quick adjust stand is another really common design, but that's a good thing because it's really easy to use. You can get loads of angles in. Do make sure you're not catching all of your leads and cables behind the screen when you're getting it set up, and bear in mind that you can lean on this at a lower angle, but when it's a bit further upright it will flex a bit under pressure if you're pushing too hard around the edges, so you should watch where you throw your weight behind it. So I sat down the other night and decided to work on some random drawing for a couple of hours just to get a full-on feel for this tablet and what it's like to use. And there are some pros and cons. Now, the screen size is 21.5 inches across the diagonal, and that is personally an ideal size to be working with. It's large enough that you can kind of get really expressive and free and take in scope of your artwork, but not so big that it's becoming too cumbersome to use at your table. And the actual screen ratio supports standard 1080p resolution, which is very nice and pretty much necessary if you want things to line up in a very general sense with your other computer monitors. Now, getting my Windows 10 computer to understand that the tablet was plugged in wasn't a problem at all, but I did need to restart it one extra time after installing it before it actually recognised the pen, which you will need to charge with a USB cable provided before use. The pen itself has 2048 levels of pressure sensitivity, but personally I find this hard plastic nib in conjunction with the screen protector on this model to be maybe not the most perfect thing to use, and it's worth mentioning that most of my issues here might well go away if I went up and just removed or peeled off this final layer of screen protection, but because it's intended to stay as part of its use, I'm going to be reviewing it as such. Now, the first thing is that it adds a minute but extra layer of thickness over the glass screen, which means that the location of your pen is slightly further away from the pointer on-screen surface, which is more noticeable when you're working near the edges of your tablet and your viewpoint is at more of an extreme angle. The texture of the screen protector is actually really good in my opinion. It serves its function for giving just enough friction, but I think the problem is with the pen. It's not that well suited, I suspect. Now this hard plastic nib, even with my pressure sensitivity set to maximum lightness, requires just a bit too much force to get an initial stroke out of, meaning that you can find yourself having to really dig in and get scratchy in order to rough out a pose. Now it's not awful by any stretch, but in my experience I can definitely feel the difference between having to work that little bit harder to get a good line on screen than when I find something to be a bit more smoother and natural. The pen just requires a bit too much weight behind it in order to register a soft move. And when it comes to spending ages at the creative process, you don't want this to become another obstacle. You want to just smoothly translate your idea onto the page. Now price-wise, this is a fairly affordable entry-range tablet, similar to another UGEE tablet that I reviewed a little bit earlier back on the channel. But in terms of the overall screen temperature and colours, it is definitely better. The ratio, that 1080p reference I mentioned earlier, is ideal. The colour tone was really good with this monitor, and although that screen protector means that you're not going to get the most crisp image in the world for the sake of using this screen to play films on and so on, if you peeled it off, it would work just fine. So if you're looking for a tablet to get into with your digital artwork, then there are definitely worse ways to go than this Acepen. It is worth a slight price difference up from maybe one of the UGEE models that you can get for about $100 cheaper, but to be perfectly honest, I think if you've got a good feel for your artwork and want to really get the most out of things, and you can afford maybe another $100, I'd say shell out that little bit more again and go for something very similar in size, maybe a bit like the HUION tablets that I've also reviewed before, because that pen to screen experience and the level of sensitivity is simply much better on that slightly different tablet type, and that will slowly add up over time if you're going to make digital art a big part of your life. So yeah, overall this tablet is a lovely bit of kit. It is rare to see the colours work so well straight out of the box, which means balancing your artwork colour tones is something that you can confidently do on this screen. The only thing whatsoever I reckon that's letting this down is the pen itself. I think if they just had a model which was slightly more sensitive and worked for some slightly lighter brush strokes instead of having such a resistive pen nib, then this thing would probably be smashing it out of the water. But because of that pen and that ever so slightly scratchy experience, and again, most people probably wouldn't have an issue with this or even really notice, I'm just talking from a lot of experience, I find that it means that this is another contender in its price range, but you'd still probably want to shell out just a little bit more to get the most out of technology. So thank you very much for watching this review of the Acepen AP-2150 Graphics drawing tablet. So thank you very much for watching this unboxing review of the Acepen AP-2150 Graphics drawing tablet. I really hope you found it useful, and if you're trying to work out what's best for you, I do recommend comparing my thoughts to this tablet to some of the other similar models that I've been reviewing on the channel, and as well a great big thank you to gearbest.com for sending over this tablet for me to review. Again, it's definitely worth taking a look at the link that I've got in the description below over to their website, simply because as well as this tablet, they've got loads of different tablets on there, and they've got loads of flash sales going on because they're also in the middle of another promotion. So I'd say it's definitely worth a browse just to get a feel for things at the very least. So if you liked this video, come click subscribe for more, as there's plenty of art stuff going on the channel. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. You're the best. Take care.